Alright, so when it comes to the GED test, alright, there's going to be some problems that will require you to take multiple steps to find the answer. Alright, whenever you face these problems, alright, you just have to do what's called the order operations. One of the best ways to remember order operations is this. Alright, PEMDAS. What PEMDAS means, alright, it means do the parentheses. Alright, do all the operations that are in parentheses. Okay. Then exponent. Evaluate the terms containing exponents or roots. Then do all the multiplication or division in order from left to right. Alright. Then do all addition or subtraction in order from left to right. Okay, so let's look at an example problem. Okay, so utilizing PEMDAS, alright, so step one, remember we have to do all the operations within parentheses. So say we have this problem. 3 plus 2 squared times 6 minus 5 plus 2. Alright, so we are going to use PEMDAS to answer this problem. So PEMDAS tells us do everything in the parentheses first. So we're going to do this first before we do anything else. Alright, so parentheses, it's just 3 plus 2. Alright, so if we rewrite it, we got 3 plus 2 equals 5. So the 5 keeps the squared for right now. Times 6 minus 5 plus 2. Okay. Now, PEMDAS, alright, tells us once the parentheses are done, we work on the exponents or roots. So in this particular problem, we have 5 squared. Alright, anytime you have a exponent, you just multiply that number times itself that many times. Alright, so 5 squared is essentially just 5 times 5, which equals 25. So we're going to completely rewrite our problem. Alright, so exponents or roots, the exponent we have is 5 squared. 5 squared, or 5 times 5, is 25. So we'll rewrite the complete problem, which is 25 times 6 minus 5 plus 2. Okay, now we've got to do all of the multiplication or division in order from left to right. Well, luckily enough, we only have one multiplication problem we got to worry about, which is 25 times 6. Alright, so 25 times 6 is 150, so we're going to, that's the only multiplication or division we have, so we're going to do 150 minus 5 plus 2. Okay. Now the last step we've got to do is do all the addition and subtraction. So for PEMDAS, we've done the parentheses, which was 3 plus 2, which gave us 5. Then we did the exponent, which was 5 squared, or 5 times 5, which gave us 25. Alright, then we did the M or the D for PEMDAS, which is multiplication division. We did multiplication division from the left to right. Luckily, we only had one problem, which was 25 times 6, which gave us 150. Now the last step is addition or subtraction, the A and the S of PEMDAS. Alright, so now we're just going to do addition or subtraction from left to right. It's not all addition then subtraction, it's literally you're going from left to right in the problem. So the first thing we would do is not 5 plus 2, it's actually going to be 150 minus 5. Then we'll add 2. So 150 minus 5 equals 145. All right. Then we're going to add 2 to 145, which gives us 147. So that is the answer for the multiple step problem that we were given. All right, so let's take a look at a couple examples. Example 1. All right, Frank earned $69 last week and $121 this week. What expression would show the amount he should save if he wants to save 25% of his earnings? All right, so pay close attention to the problem. All right, it's asking what expression. That means we are not answering it. We are just setting up the math problem so that way if we did decide to answer it, we could down the road. All right. So Frank earned $69 last week and $121 this week. Okay. So what we'd have to do, so what we would do is without actually adding it, we would just add his two earnings for 2 weeks. Okay. Now, if you recall, we can't simply just multiply by 25%. You could in a calculator. But for the purposes of this activity, we are going to change 25% to a decimal, which means we just got to move the decimal, the place value point, 2 spaces to the left, which gives us 0.25. Alright. Now we're going to set up the problem using the order operations. So what we have to do is, okay, we would have to add up this much, then multiply it by 0.25 or 25% to see how much we'd have to save. Because we'd have to add them up first, then multiply. So this is our answer right there. Because it asked for the expression, nothing else. It asked us, how would you set up the problem? Alright, we would add Frank's earnings first, which is what puts us in the parentheses, because if we don't do that, we'd have to do multiplication first. So we want to add the earnings first, alright, then multiply. By doing the parentheses around 69 plus 121, it forces us to do that first. Okay, let's take a look at example 2. Alright, Morgan buys 3 pairs of socks for $1.29 each. $1.29 each, and a pair of shoes for $29.95. The sales tax is 8%. What is the total amount she spends including tax? So we've got multiple steps for this. Alright, so what we've got to do is set up, so we got to set the problem, then answer it. So the first thing we've got to do is figure out how much freaking money Morgan spent altogether for the socks and the shoes. Alright, so she bought 3 pairs of socks for this much, or for $1.29. And for the purposes of this, I'm just going to drop the dollar sign, but remember the dollar sign's still there. Okay? And then, since we've got to figure out how much she spent total for shoes and socks, we've got to add the shoes too, which was $29.95. Alright? That gives us how much she actually spent, or before tax. Okay. Now we've got to multiply, alright, it by the tax, which was 8%. Now before we can do that, we'd have to change the decimal point from 8% to 0.08. Alright, so we're going to multiply everything we just added by 0.08. Okay, so we set up the expression to find the total cost of the items without the tax, which was this. Alright, then we included the sales tax by multiplying the cost of all the items by 0.08, which was this. Alright, now we're going to follow the order operations to solve for the total cost of the items in sales tax. Alright, so what we've got to do, so 3 times 129 plus 29.95 gets us $33.82. Okay, that's the total cost of the shoes and the socks before tax. Now, when we multiply 33.82 by 0.08 or 8%, the sales tax was $2.71. All right, let me erase that. There we go. So this is the total cost without tax. This is the tax after we multiplied the cost by 8%, which was $2.71. So total cost without the tax, this is the tax. So now what we've got to do is add these two numbers together to figure out how much Morgan spent total for both the shoes, the socks, with the taxes added, which gives us $36.53. So Morgan bought 3 pairs of socks for $1.29 each and a pair of shoes for $29.95 with a sales tax of 8%, and she spent $36.53. So what I want you to do now is work on the practice skills. All right. Answer the 2 problems, then check your answers with the solutions at the bottom. Alright, then work on the GED practice problems, and then if you have any questions, ask me. Alright? Ask me, and then I'll help you out the best way I can.